Well, hello there, brothers and sisters of WoT Blitz universe. You're watching WoT Blitz Addict again. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna talk about the SU-101, the Tier 8 Russian tank destroyer, the fast one, not so much armored as the 704 and 268 line, but it leads to nice tank, which is the Object 263, and we're gonna talk about the advantages and disadvantages of the tank. But first, let us look at the consumables. As you can see, I'm using standard consumables. For provisions, I'm using extra combat rations, I'm using improved fuel and protective kit. For ammo loadout, 20 AP rounds, 9 heat rounds and 6 HE rounds. Maybe HE isn't spectacular, but it's a 100mm gun, so okay. Now let's look at the equipment. I'm using gun rammer, but if you switch to calibrated, you get much more pen, and it's great. Maybe I will switch to calibrated, maybe this will work, but all the games you will see will be with the gun rammer. Enhanced gun laying drive, of course. I'm using vertical stabilizer, I'm using defense system, enhanced armor because you have rarely more hit points. I'm using toolbox, of course, camouflage net, improved control, and I would advise you to use consumable delivery system because you have very long reload. And now let's look at the armor profile. As you can see, from perspective of T-44, this armor is holding quite strong, which is great because you can face hack with this tank, and with your gun mountlet you can just troll some bounces on your front plate, which is great because the tank is mobile. But as soon as they switch to APCR and calibrated shells, as you can see, it's not that great. Still, you can you have only 4 degrees of gun depression, but you can try to wiggle a bit, you can try to over angle the front like on the steep terrain and just get some bounces on the front. Let's switch to some other tank, but still against AP you are pretty hard to pen. T-54, same situation. If you wiggle, if you angle your front, you will be quite fine. But if they load heat, well, that's not much you can do. You can still try to angle wiggle the tank. You can see that the armor is quite trollish, so you can receive some bounces. And we're gonna see the first game. The first game will be showing you how fast and effective can be this tank. If you're not trying to play it as a typical TD in the back, you can play as a medium almost, because the hull I think is based on T-44. I'm not sure about that, but it's based on some medium tank, so it's fast, it's quite maneuverable, and pretty armor. As you saw, it's pretty trollish, so that means you can go frontline. Maybe not against the heavy tanks, because heavy tanks will be able to pen you quite easily. Maybe not against the upper tier tanks like tier 9 tanks, but still against tier 8 tanks you can bounce some shells. And you will see I will play very aggressively for TD this game, and it will pay off in some scenarios like this map where you can't really hide your hull, because you need to hide at least the bottom plate of your hull, otherwise you will get penned all day. But the best thing to do is just to hide your whole tank and just show the upper casement if you need to show anything, because with 4 degrees of gun depression this map is quite good for this tank, because yeah, you aren't able to pick the hills. You simply can't do it with 4 degrees of gun depression. And if you're not using Top Gun, it's even worse because you have 2 degrees of gun depression, which is really a pain in the butt. So if you can, just try to get top modules as soon as possible, because otherwise it's really hard to play this tank. And to a little bit of advice, if you don't have the gun depression and you play on the map like, I don't know, like Dead Rail, you can use the large gun elevation. So you back up the hill and you're just creating a gun depression by using gun elevation. Like you back up against the wall, so your back is going up, and that means you can shoot down and using your gun elevation, so you can go strictly down, and at the same time you can pull up your gun as as much as you need to use, still shoot your enemies at the front. As you can see, we're gonna just push around here because I can see my team is quite falling, and I saw this T-34-1 is alone here. So we're gonna just try to use our speed to get around here and try to help our team, which we do, which is great because it's now 4 against 3, and this 1-to-1 isn't looking at us. That means we can get a free shot. Unfortunately, someone else kill it before we can do it. We could do it, but now it's the T-54 lightweight, which is going around somewhere. I'm gonna try to hunt him down. He's the last one remaining from the red team. Maybe this game wasn't spectacular in terms of damage, but we, as you can see, we got some kills. We got 4 kills. We got some second class 2150 damage, which isn't spectacular, but the thing I want to show you is how to play this tank in frontline. Played it aggressively, supporting medium tanks, and we're gonna do the same thing here, but we're gonna play more as a TD, not so aggressively. But that tank gives you opportunity to play aggressively due to its speed. So we're gonna try to support the left and the right side. As you can see, they have 3 heavies, they have 3 mediums. That means they could have split. And if I will be in the middle, I can not depend on my gun depression, and I can put some shots in as soon as I will see them. And you saw just how bad the gun depression is. I don't know if I had the top gun right here. I'm not really sure because some of the games are from grinding, and I played few games with the second gun, not the top gun. But still, even with 2 and 4 degrees of gun depression aren't really that different. Both are bad in terms of gun depression, so that doesn't change that playstyle as much as you would expect. So both are bad. So try to get uneven terrain, or if you are on steepy terrain, the ridge lines, try to back up the ridge behind you, just to poke your back up, and you just simply use your gun elevation to create your gun depression. And here we're gonna, you will see we have pretty decent DPM. It's not spectacular, but it's quite good. That's why I wasn't using the gun rammer. I was using gun rammer, not calibrated shells. But if you saw how much difference makes to the heat penetration and HE penetration, you can go for calibrated shells if you want to snipe, of course, because then you don't need DPM as much. But you can snipe with this tank, and then you can punish your enemies with HE, because the HE damage is way better than AP. So that means you can just try to do some damage from distance when you don't need to trade your DPM. And now we're gonna just simply try to help our amigo. I think it was Martin. Yeah, it was Martin. They went down for him, and we're gonna try to support him. We don't have gun depression, but we can just drop down. Unfortunately, we missed that shot. But I really want Martin to stay alive. Unfortunately, I won't be able to keep him alive, but at least we're gonna do some damage here. And now all we have to do is just hide our hole and try to wiggle a bit. Tiger P has pretty decent penetration, but still it's not that easy to pen us. This Patton quite knows what he's doing, so he's getting a reliable penetration on us. But still, we're gonna take some damage, some hit points from our enemy team, and we finish up with 3,300 and few damage. I can't really remember how much it was. Yeah, so still a second game, and now we're gonna team up with in 2 tank destroyers, 2 pretty fast tank destroyers, which is the J Panther 2 and this SU, and we're gonna just try to put the mayhem on the enemies on this side. And it's a pretty decent situation when you're gonna see nice team play. nice tune play, and I probably gonna use this video again, this replay again, just to make a video about tuning, about how to tune properly, how to support each other to make some nice damage and to take advantage of situations. So you just need to do some stuff, but we're gonna talk about it there. Now we're gonna talk about the game. As you can see, this time we're going aggressively. We are just trying, when we can see the tank in front of us, it's a one shot for us. That's the time to just poke out, use our speed, and just delete this enemy, just to clear the gun. Because if you clear the gun, that means that it's easier for your team to push to win. And that's what we're gonna do here. We're simply gonna just try to use our, we have some hit points left. We can see the team is pushing, so we're gonna push with the team, and we're gonna just simply try to clear all those remaining tanks as soon as possible, especially that we are not getting focused here. But you can see the best, this tank is quite versatile. Even though it doesn't have the gun depression, it has really nice traverse speed, it has really good speed, overall speed. That means you can face the mediums, even face hack the mediums, and they can't really COD you. That's great about this tank. You can't be COD'd, and that's the main advantage, because you don't have the turret. So if you get some slow lumbering TD like a T28, you can do nothing against medium tanks. And with this tank, actually you can, because they really gonna struggle to COD you. That means you can play more aggressively, because you have pretty trollish armor on the front, and if you face hack them, they will really struggle to kill you so easily. Now we're gonna, as you can see, we're gonna just play very aggressively. We have pretty much, let's say, over 50% of our HP pool. So that means that RU won't be able to clear us as fast. So he needs at least 3 shots to clear us out. Even if he high rolls, he can't do nothing in 2. And still you can see he was shooting on the move. Of course he bounced, but he at least he was trying to do something. And here we're gonna go for a nice ram, for a nice shot, and now it's all about to finish him off. And we're gonna do it with no problems. As you can see, he wasn't able to COD us, and he was quite annoyed with us. So it was a first class, again, quite nice game. And that's basically all for this episode, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel, it really helps me a lot. And if you want to join my Discord, the link is in the description below, same with my Facebook page. Thanks for watching, take care, bye bye, and catch you all on the battlefield.